Good evening. It's a lovely good evening to you all watching Camnet Television Main News. To present Camnet Television Main News, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. The top stories in the news tonight: government considering prosecution of former President Edgar Lungu. Court orders Chilufya Tayali to stop being emotional in court. An identified man has been found dead in the graveyard. In international news, Comoros Supreme Court clears Asomani for fourth-term bid. And in sports news, Oscar Pistorius granted parole in South Africa. These are many stories coming up after this short break.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B.
And now the news in detail. Residents of Lusaka's Kalikiliki compound are living in fear of their homes being flooded as the rains intensify. A check by Camnet TV found some houses near Kalikiliki stream flooded from the rains so far received. And some of the affected residents say they have engaged their leaders, including Area Member of Parliament Mike Mposha, but no solution has so far been provided. Here's a report.
The annual Lusaka traditional ceremony called floods has already started giving a sign of threat to homes and properties of some residents of Lusaka's Kalikiliki compound. A check by this reporter revealed that the first rains that Lusaka has received so far has left a mark in houses near this stream. Residents are now living in fear of property destruction as the rains intensify and want this stream turned into a drainage. They told this reporter that they have engaged their Area Member of Parliament Mike Mposha, who has up to now not given any solid solution.
So tulefwayo bwafuirisha omulwandi so mufwayo abantu balanda cyane amenshi imfulanga yaroka everyday kula twingira mungandekera mwaka wonse so efintu tafichinja so tulefwa tumonyo bwafuisha efintu ngafyara chinja kaimwa lera ndokwe bati ifintu fikachinja nabata tulemona po change iya kwa ati ifintu fikachinja chife chimochine so ifintu tulefwayo bwafuirisha
diadi febo ino mbopo baishile pitamo ba level na ba unique bali ona ulayati. So inganda ntu hapa na anytime pantu bali chita divert akamana kaba pakati pa nyumba. So anytime inganda ntu hapona. So nitandaula kuti ba MP mtu wambele po mufolo ukuru noti kangona ni problem siza sira. Tulefwaya ati ngachakwa bati mwafula. Kashi ngaendeka kuli baba isirimbe wangati understand. But tupe mpakuli mwe face nga mwalepera nishitu ngaende kusogolo kachikuli ba basi lembi wangataka understand but they don't say in namba kudala kumipasani machani ma message pa phone na kukamba chabi
na danda ulomanza tivuta vuta ni drainage katalimpa inistinga katilibe problem manje wakuti ati samaliro tichi chintu chisevenze tuone katiliba mina ngati thandizire koma tipempako kuti government thandizire mvula ikalibo paka chifukwa nani mwamene kuonekera manje wati mvula ikafika December tizankhala bwanji chitizange nawo manzi manyumba yosaneneka so tipempha chabe utati thandizire koma mina ngati thandize pa drainage amene ndiye pempho yanga amene ningapempheko sikuoneka bwino maonako mwamene kuonekera so mwandi tipempha mwandi ishuwa boma itithandize mwamene ngati thandizire chifukwa tizawo bana bavutika bana sibachoka panja manzi manyumba yangena.
When contacted for a comment, Munali, Member of Parliament Mike Mposha, cautioned residents in the area against dumping waste in the stream. The lawmaker, however, assured that he has engaged the Lusaka City Council to unblock the stream.
So we have engaged Lusaka City Council to see how they can help us. As you know, that the function of collecting garbage in such areas is under the council. So we've contacted Lusaka City Council to see how they can help our people. So we are monitoring the situation, and we keep on pushing LOCC to come to the rescue of the affected residents. But just also to appeal to our people there that it's one thing to clear the refuse there, to deepen the stream. But if we continue dumping garbage there, within a short time, again, we get back into the floods.
In recent years, heavy rainfall and thunderstorms have been affecting central-southern Zambia, in particular southern, central, eastern and Lusaka provinces, causing severe floods that have resulted in casualties and damage. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
A 28-year-old woman of 10 Miles area in Katuba constituency has allegedly been abandoned by her husband, leaving her with their 4 children, and has appealed for help from well-wishers. Besnat Kasakula tells Camnet TV News that her husband abandoned his family 3 months ago, and now she faces eviction from the house owner. Ms. Kasakula says she has nowhere to take the kids, as most family members are not willing to take her in with all the 4 children. She now appeals to well-wishers to support her with capital to start a business so that she can take care of her children. Details in the following report.
A 28-year-old woman whose family is based in Luansha is pleading for help to fend for her 4 children aged between 2 and 8 years in Katuba constituency. Besnat Kasakula says it is now 3 months since her husband, Humphrey Mulalilo, left her and their 4 children, taking all their belongings and vanishing without a trace, but when caught, only assures to come and pick up the children to the Copperbelt province. She explains that since then, it has been a struggle to provide for her kids and is now facing eviction scheduled for Saturday, November 25th, 2023.
Then na foreign stock chongo so share kuna vana ofona imine kuna transport and na shire fika kuno nasanga naingira mungani nasanga tamuri fili fyonse no bunga no blanket fyonse badisenda no spoon no imbabula no kakapo kakumina kwa minji nasanga fyonse badisenda.
Amidst this hardship, Besnat holds on to hope, aiming to launch a business that can sustain her family.
So in Monday, mbako fyo fuirisho ngweta bana fo bari mbutuka. So ndelo mbako bafurisha bakuchinsungire kwa bana. Kwateka pa kufungira kwa bana. Ndechitakola business. Ndesungira kwa bana.
Her eldest child, referred to as Mary for privacy, dreams of accessing education, hoping for a brighter future amid their hardship.
Nkesa msenda fesi apanomba shikwete mpya na senda kufyeba mpundu vena fyebe vaishire kuno vena bevaishe kuno vena bavashanesa veka fyebe valaipikira ve tungafafya kutwafyikira twafisha kutambishe kusikushi tulipoku yako skulu.
And the community chairman who discovered the lady's situation condemns Humphrey's action, highlighting his consistent disregard for his responsibilities when contacted regarding the children's welfare.
Because just after some discussions, the following day, then he vanished and left the kids with just another well-wisher. So from there, that was the day when again the mother came. So after having seen her, I inquired from her, have you come to look after the children? She says, yes, I have come to look after the children. Then I was very grateful.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Shtambira Sivanda has promised to intervene as he has engaged the Social Welfare Department on the matter.
So since we have the Social Welfare Department nearby, we went to them, approached them, they said, no, this is a problem that we actually deal with. So what we can do, We can assist in a way that we can, but we need to talk to the woman. We know exactly what she wants. If she'd want to be repatriated back to the parents, or what she wants. Because if we force her back into, onto the Copper Belt, if she doesn't want to go there, she'll still come back here. So we need to talk to her. So we thought, since they are experts, let them talk to her and we hear how best we can help. But otherwise, for now, from what we've seen, the woman is ready to find something to do.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Katuba.
A body of an unidentified male adult has been discovered at Old Leopards Hill Cemetery in Lusaka in the early hours of Friday. The man, who is believed to have been residing in the graveyard, was found in a fairly decomposed state. One of the workers in the graveyard, who opted to remain anonymous, said he only knew the deceased as Joe and was seeing him around in the area. Meanwhile, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has confirmed the development and says investigations have been instituted to identify the deceased.
Ukirine ufake na tumyara so pali wa mdara mezo wachokera kuna down wakamba nafika paja pa side paja naona pali muntu okufa na wabwanje uyo ata aonka kochena ma scratch kumenso so but nendo mzi wako chepa ngono chepija ti Joe na ta Joe ati adeni vanzake wasenzera kwe.
Some residents of Lusaka's Chawama compound have urged government to provide information on the country's debt inclusively. Speaking during a Debt Information Community Dissemination Symposium organized by the Zambia Empowerment Hub and Entrepreneurship Skills Training, ZEHEST, the residents have complained that it is difficult to understand information on the country's debt situation due to the jargons involved. They have since called for an inclusive citizen participation through public symposiums which explain the country's debt. Meanwhile, ZEHEST Executive Director Clarence Muziamba has called on government to formulate a debt repayment plan which will lessen the burden on the citizens. More in this report.
As of December 2022, Zambia's debt stood at $1.6 billion United States dollars, with external debt accounting for $13.96 billion US dollars and domestic debt accounting for $14.23 billion US dollars. But how many members of the general public understand this issue? In order to create understanding among the general public, a youth-based organization, Zambia Empowerment Hub and Entrepreneurship Skills Training ZEHEST, held a Debt Information Community Dissemination Symposium in Chawama constituency in Lusaka, where the locals called for inclusivity on issues surrounding the country's debt. The residents urged the government to provide information on the country's debt situation to sections of society without selecting according to status.
Munkongola zija zamene maboma yatu ya matenga bayenekera kuzitu chitako involve isi as citizens ndaba tuyenekera kuziva ndalama mamene zisebenze ndaba posiliza kwa nani ma issues yali yonse ndise bamene tuzabweza zija nkongola tuzibweza munjira zambiri monga nthawi zinangu bantu tudandaula ati vintu vakwela vintu nivodula vintu vili bwanjo fiwewo chani sitiziva ndaba kulibe wamene atulondolera bwinobwino ati ndalama zamene vanapoka nani boma zinasebenza munjira ya sona.
In the community, because of that ignorance, people tend to judge the government, we tend to make wrong decisions because we don't know what's going on. So I recommend and request that these programs actually be held in the community on a regular basis, whereby maybe we can have such meetings like maybe monthly, or we can form clubs in the community.
So I have learned that it's not the job of the government only to pay back the debt, but also me as a citizen. In terms of, I can be an entrepreneur, I can just find ways and, you know, or join organizations that actually help and empower, you know, citizens from all walks of life to be productive and to benefit the economic growth of our country.
Meanwhile, ZHEST Executive Director Clarence Muziamba called on the government to always consider formulating a debt repayment plan before acquiring any debt.
Our appeal to the government is that yes, we know borrowing is there, but we want sustainable borrowing rates, and we want to make sure that we have a clear debt repayment plan. We know that our creditors are having talks with the IMF, the World Bank, with our president and other leaders from the Ministry of Finance. But our appeal from the ground is that we need to have a local resource mobilization strategy.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government says the purported commencement of the constitutional review was instigated by members of parliament who agreed to repeal non-contentious issues. Speaking during a press briefing Friday afternoon, Minister of Information and Media, Cornelius Mwetwa, says the members of parliament from the opposition have changed course on the matter following their suspension from parliament. Mr. Mwetwa disclosed that Petauke Member of Parliament J. Banda is on record writing to Parliament to repeal non-contentious clauses. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwetwa has hinted on the possible prosecution of former President Edgar Lungu for drawing a salary after his said retirement from active politics.
Secondly, I intend to amend the Emoluments Commission Act so that it no longer has the power to determine the emoluments of the National Assembly and the staff of the National Assembly of Zambia. Yours, Banda MP, Member of Parliament, Petauke constituency, and decide. Let them just own up that what has made them U-turn and want now to lump this on the executive, that the executive is the one which wants to amend the constitution, is the fact that there were differences on the floor of the House leading to them, a number of them being suspended. Was he obtaining money by false pretenses, which is a criminal offense in Zambia? When he gave that letter to a public officer indicating that he had retired from active politics, did he commit an offense of giving false information to a public officer? And remember that both of these two offenses are not covered by his presidential immunity because they are being done after he left office. Immunity ends with things you do in office. So those things, legal experts are still studying to see the way forward.
Former President Edgar Lungu's associate Harry Findlay has failed to appear in court for his criminal case. When the matter came up Friday morning, presiding magistrate Sylvia Munyinya was informed that Mr. Findlay is still in South Africa for his medical treatment and can only return after the 27th of November when he does his last review. On the 15th of November 2023, Magistrate Munyinya had once again ordered for the temporary release of Mr. Findlay's passport to enable him to travel to South Africa to seek medical attention. In this matter, Mr. Findlay is charged with 2 counts of holding more than 1 passport and being found with endorsements of forged immigration stamps. More in this report.
The Lusaka Magistrate Court heard Friday morning that Lusaka businessman Harry Findlay, who is facing a criminal charge, was still in South Africa for his medical treatment. Mr. Findlay was expected to appear for his continuation of trial this morning, the 24th of November 2023, but failed to do so because of his next medical review. When the matter came up this morning, the presiding magistrate Sylvia Munyinya was informed that Mr. Findlay is still in South Africa for his medical treatment and can only return after the 27th of November. On the 15th of November 2023, Magistrate Munyinya had again ordered for the temporary release of Mr. Harry Findlay's passport to enable him to travel to South Africa to seek medical attention. The court had also directed that upon his return, the accused should ensure that he surrenders the passport to the clerk of court. In this matter, Mr. Findlay is charged with 2 counts. The state accuses him of acquiring a Zambian passport on the 3rd of October 2022, purporting to have lost the one he had obtained earlier. Mr. Findlay, who is also former President Edgar Lungu's associate, is accused of being found in possession of endorsement of forged immigration stamps for Mwami Immigration Border Control in his passport, purporting that it was officially endorsed when in fact not. The matter stands adjourned to the 1st of December 2023. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A Lusaka magistrate has warned the Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali to shut up after he told the court not to shout at him Friday. Magistrate Kelvin Soma told Mr. Tayali to be quiet and control his emotions after the accused became loud when explaining his absence before court. Magistrate Soma told the accused that he would not tolerate his behavior and allow exchange of words with the court. This is in a case Mr. Tayali is accused of attempting to seduce soldiers to rise against command on the grounds that their salaries were being delayed and that they were supposed to get 100% allowances instead of 50%. More in this report.
Tempers flared on Friday as Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali was told to keep quiet by the Lusaka Magistrate Court. An emotional atmosphere hung in the courtroom this morning as Lusaka Magistrate Kelvin Nsoma went further to advise Mr. Tayali to keep his emotional and desist from exchanging words with the court. Mr. Tayali, who is facing a charge of inciting mutiny, was requested to exculpate himself for his failure to attend a court session and not utilize his sureties. The accused informed the presiding magistrate that he was nursing his stepfather, who suffered a stroke at the University Teaching Hospital. He went on further to explain that the day his case came up, he was within the court premise, however received a call from the hospital informing him about the passing of his stepfather. The opposition leader informed the court that he had alerted the prosecution about his predicament, however they refused to sympathize with his situation. At this point, Mr. Tayali went further to apologize to the court, adding that he did not in any way mean to disrespect the court, but when Magistrate Nsoma advised him to utilize his sureties, Mr. Tayali spoke aloud, questioning why he would call his sureties to court if he was present on that material day. This forced Magistrate Nsoma to warn the accused to keep his voice down and to keep quiet and desist from exchanging the words with the court. The opposition leader was appearing for his continuation of trial in his alleged inciting mutiny case. The state accuses him of attempting to seduce soldiers to raise against command on grounds that their salaries were being delayed and that they were supposed to get 100% allowances instead of 50%. The matter stands adjourned. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia says it had last year supported a total of 26 partner organizations towards the implementation of their annual plans, which resulted in the total support of 1,500 children and youngsters with disabilities at the end of the fourth quarter. Speaking at the annual general meeting in Lusaka Friday, Cheshire Homes National Coordinator Kamina Nguni says out of the total children supported, 1,332 were supported with education from preschool to university level, while 1,882 were supported with health-related support. Meanwhile, Cheshire Homes National Council Chairperson Professor Gaudenzio Rossi has called upon the Zambian government to take cognizance of the special needs of children with disabilities by putting in place disability inclusion policies. More in this report.
Cheshire Home Society of Zambia says it is geared to continue in its quest to supporting children with disabilities and all its cooperating partners. Speaking At the annual general meeting in Lusaka Friday, the organization says it had in 2022 supported a total of 26 partner organizations towards the implementation of their annual plans, which resulted in a total support of 1,500 children and youngsters with disabilities at the end of the fourth quarter.
The program supported a total of 26 organizations, as alluded to, where we supported a total of 1,500 children and youth with disabilities at the end of the year. So it just gives statistics in terms of how many we reached to, different interventions.
The operations of the charity organization did not go without challenges, such as the budget deficit due to exchange losses between the local currency and the euro, which affected implementation of some activities.
We had some challenges during the year in the implementation of the project, and one of the major challenges was the budget deficit. I think during the year we had a lot of inflation, so we had a lot of budget deficit due to the exchange losses, the local currency against the euro, where we received the money and the dollar. So that impacted on our budget for the implementation of the activities. And that was a lesson learned for the year 2023, where we had to consider utilizing other measures, such as using e-bill, where we have a fixed exchange rate.
Meanwhile, Cheshire Home's National Council Chairperson, Professor Gaudezio Rossi, has called upon the Zambian government to take cognizance of the special needs of children with disabilities by putting in place disability inclusion policies.
Today, we call upon the government to take cognizance of the special needs of children with disabilities by putting in place disability inclusive policies. We want to end the isolation of children with disability through championing of inclusive education by the government that should consider making education services disability inclusive at all levels of learning. We want to ensure the well-being and independence of children with disability through provision of assistive devices by the government.
Children with disabilities continue to be discriminated, a gap that Cheshire Home Society has been working to cover by ensuring that all children with disabilities are given the same kind of love and treatment as those who are able-bodied. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Namibian First Lady and current president of the Organization of African First Ladies, OAFLA, Monica Geingob, has landed in the country. Mrs. Geingob, who arrived at exactly 13:48 hours, was received by Zambian First Lady Mutinta Hichilema at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. The Namibian First Lady, who is expected to officiate at the Africa CDC Youth Pre-Conference 2023, which is scheduled to take place from the 25th of November to the 26th of November 2023 in Lusaka, is expected to depart for Namibia on the 26th of November 2023. The overall goal of the Africa CDC Youth Pre-Conference is to advance and institutionalize the strategic engagement between Africa CDC and young people by providing a space for young people to critically reflect on the current state of public health in Africa. The conference is also meant for countries to share perspectives on the role of young people in public health and exchange on prospects and innovative solutions to enhance meaningful youth engagement in this area.
As you Thank you. But nice to see you. Nice to see you. that makes people.
Nice meeting you, sir.
And as you know, this is our High Commissioner of Namaget.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We take our first break. Join us for more news after the break.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point of sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, 4th close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
On Monday, 27th November 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Madam Edith Nawakwi, FDD President.
We have resources. Why are we poor? We are poor because we like to govern from the center. The challenge is that Zambia is mapped as mineral rich, but we don't know.
As they discuss, is Zambia headed in the right direction socially, economic, and politically? Watch and subscribe to Camnet Television Network on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 25, Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages.
Camnet Television, your #1 community station in Zambia. This is your channel of choice. Camnet TV.
Not just another channel.
Welcome back. Camnet Television Main News continues. The Zambia Institute of Policy Analysis and Research, ZIPA, says Zambia and Africa needs to relook at the current mining policies if the continent is to get maximum benefits from the sector. Speaking during the 3rd edition of Eminent Persons Forum in Lusaka, ZIPA Executive Director Dr. Heriki Mpuku says Zambia, like many African countries, are rich in mineral wealth, but its citizens remain poor. And addressing forum delegates in the main lecture, renowned Zambian geologist Dr. Sixtus Mulenga says Zambia's future mining lies in harnessing of new mines and says the country needs to train human resource to get the best from the sector. More in the following report.
The Zambia Institute of Policy Analysis and Research, ZIPA, has held its 3rd Eminent Persons Forum, EPF, in Lusaka. The EPF was held under the theme, Future of Mining in Zambia. Speaking in his opening remarks, ZIPA Executive Director Dr. Heriki Mpuku said there is need for the country to continuously dialogue over its mineral wealth to reap maximum benefits from the sector.
It is our considered view
just as others have argued in the past, that this country has not adequately benefited from the great resources governments it has. As with many other countries, the debate has raged, and where our countries, our African countries, our developing countries are benefiting from the resources governments they have.
Seasoned geologist and mining expert Dr. Sixtus Mulenga was the main speaker at the event.
So the key for us is development of human capital. And develop human capital from the perspective of business. Zambia must become a business. The mining sector must be a business. So in simple language, the natural resources we have are assets. It's our inventory.
Dr. Mulenga has since recommended for a focus on new mining ventures, given huge capital which is needed to revamp some old mines in the country.
The comparative, but those projects require huge investment, and we must be patient. They require huge investment to reach what we require. I can talk about Concola because I was in charge of Concola. In the resource, the greater resource is world class. But that's a very difficult mine to have because you have water.
The Eminent Persons Forum is an initiative of ZIPA, which brings together individuals and stakeholders from different backgrounds of knowledge to create dialogue on issues of national importance in the country. For Camnet TV News, Afyas Kaptula, Lusaka.
An academician has urged policymakers in the country to plan for wild animals and include them in mitigation measures amidst climate change. Dr. Julius Kapembwa says animals are being affected by human activities, but mitigation and planning measures do not include them. Meanwhile, an environmental activist, Martin Mulenga, says time has come for climate change action. The duo was speaking during the commemoration of the World Philosophy Day at St. Bonaventure University in Lusaka, held under the Philosophy and Climate Change theme. More in the following report.
St. Bonaventure University of Lusaka's Makeni has joined the commemoration of the World Philosophy Day. The event for commemoration, held under the theme Philosophy and Climate Change, brought together speakers from different backgrounds in philosophy to highlight the cross-cutting importance of the field in the fight against climate change.
With the adaptation measures, we include also animals. For example, if we predict a drought, then we need to put in measures to dig boreholes, okay, so that the elephants there in the world have a source of water.
Suffice to say that our knowledge of climate change and environmental degradation is prefixed on our knowledge of human existential situations. Spinoza again calls us to see the strict logical necessity of all that happens.
Minister of Green Economy and Environment Collins Nzovu spoke through a representative, calling for a balance in climate change fight and poverty eradication.
In short, if we fail to manage climate change, we are potentially creating a hostile environment where lives and the livelihoods will be destroyed. But at the same time, we are reminded that we need to exercise our moral compass so that this management of climate change should not create barriers to overcoming poverty, especially in Africa.
Speaking on the sidelines of the event, some stakeholders, students and climate change activists also highlighted the importance of philosophy in climate change fight.
So therefore the phrase united we stand, divided we fall should be embraced in the fight or in the addressing of climate change. Because when a problem comes, it's not going to come to one person, but the problem is going to face more like every Zambian.
Continue living the way we've been living, then we're not going to change anything.
we are just going to get even into deeper problems concerning climate. So we need, in a way, to reverse the destruction that we have caused.
Here to irrigate, to get water, and things are moving well. But if you handle soil well, if you feed it, then it will feed you back. It will give nature what it deserves. So in the long run, our climate change, our fight against the degradation that we are having will be defeated by our actions.
We are not denying climate change. You have to understand that. We are not denying. What we are saying is that it is...
For Camnet TV News, Afyas Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Ministry of Tourism has observed the need to invest in heritage sites in order to fully tap the country's potential in the tourism sector. Speaking during a media engagement in Lusaka Friday, Permanent Secretary Evans Muhanga says there is a need to attract more tourists to heritage sites. Mr. Muhanga says given that the economic and political environment in Zambia is conducive, there is need to ensure that the country leverages on its strengths to attract more tourists. He says Zambia is one of the fastest growing tourist destinations in Africa. We have details in the following report.
Zambia has numerous heritage sites with a high potential of becoming the world's #1 tourism destination given the necessary tourism investment. It is for this reason that the Zambia Heritage and Conservation Commission organized a media engagement to highlight the importance and impact of investing in heritage sites. Speaking at the event, National Heritage and Conservation Commission Board Chairperson Irene Muyenga says the Commission is doing everything possible to showcase the investment potential to would-be investors.
We are determined to turn this into a reality by forging sustainable partnerships with potential investors, improving investment guidelines, having our key sites graded and accessible, providing basic infrastructure at selected sites and adequately marketing these sites with your support. I'll fail in my duties if I do not take cognizance of the support the Ministry has rendered to the National Heritage Conservation Commission with regard to putting up signage and building ablution facilities at selected heritage sites. We appreciate the support.
And speaking at the same event, Ministry of Tourism Permanent Secretary Evans Muhanga called on investors to work closely with the National Heritage and Conservation Commission in order to make investments in the sector. The Permanent Secretary underscores the need to make packages more attractive so that tourists can spend more time in the country to maximize on revenue.
In 2021, tourism contribution was quite low to GDP, was measured at 1.3%. I sincerely believe that this figure can be greatly improved if heritage resources are developed optimally. Capital investments in heritage sites can contribute to creation of employment, increased foreign exchange, and improved infrastructure in tourism sites. All these and a lot of other business ventures can be undertaken at heritage sites, and you are all encouraged to develop and select areas of your choice and work with the National Heritage Conservation Commission to bring your vision and dreams to life. Because some of these areas, as they are saying, you have to have the creativity and how you can be able to package it and how you can connect, the whole route when you are actually going to your site.
The tourism industry has continued to contribute significantly to the country's economy, contributing about 3.4% of the country's gross domestic product GDP. Reporting for Camnet News, Marco Kwakozi in Lusaka.
We take our second and final break. We have more in international sports news after the break.
In Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, 4th close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
On Monday, 27th November 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Madam Edith Nawakwi, FDD President.
We have resources. Why are we poor? We are poor because we like to govern from the center. The challenge is that Zambia is mapped as mineral rich, but we don't know it.
As they discuss, is Zambia headed in the right direction socially, economic, and politically? Watch and subscribe to Camnet Television Network on DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 25, Topstar channel 106.
Invite others. Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages.
Camnet Television, your #1 community station in Zambia. This is your channel of choice. Camnet TV.
Not just another channel.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Comoros Supreme Court on Thursday approved plans by incumbent President Azali Assoumani to run for another term in the next election due on January 14. Assoumani will be running for a 4th term after winning his 3rd election in 2019. He will face 9 opponents according to a list of candidates approved by the Supreme Court. These include former Interior Minister Salim Issa, a medical doctor and flag bearer for Jua, the party of ex-President Ahmed Abdallah Sambi, who was in 2022 sentenced to life imprisonment for high treason. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Comoros Supreme Court on Thursday approved plans by incumbent President Azali Assoumani to run for another term in the next election due on January 14th. Some opponents are threatening to boycott if certain conditions, such as the release of political prisoners, are not met, and have said the electoral process lacks transparency. The small archipelago nation, situated in the Indian Ocean, held its last presidential election in 2019, when Assoumani won a 5-year term, despite the opposition alleging voting irregularities. In January, he will face 9 opponents, including a former Interior Minister and Salim Issa, a medical doctor and flag bearer for Jua, the party of ex-President Ahmed Abdallah Sambi, who was in 2022 sentenced to life imprisonment for high treason. A former army officer, Assoumani first came to power in a coup in 1999 and has since won 3 elections.
For the first time in 7 weeks, the sunrise over Gaza had a different soundscape. Well, not completely. Some explosions were heard early on Friday morning before the ceasefire came into effect. Telltale smoke above the skyline.
We are still nervous. We are happy that the ceasefire is started and the killing stops. And we are praying and hoping that the ceasefire holds. But we have a mixed feeling. People as well are very sad about all the deaths and the casualties.
Many bodies are still buried under the rubble. The non-stop Israeli attacks meant paramedics and teams of volunteers were unable to retrieve them. The Gaza Health Ministry estimates nearly 15,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of them women and children. More than 80% of the population has been displaced. And the healthcare system has collapsed. The ceasefire will offer the injured an opportunity to seek treatment at hospitals in Egypt. During the 4-day period, Hamas is to release 50 Israeli women and children held captive since the October the 7th attack. In return, Israel is expected to free 150 Palestinians, also women and children, detained in its prisons.
There is, first of all, public support to release as many hostages as possible, namely all of them. And then there is a support of continuing the war, because it was declared that one of the main goals, maybe the main goal, was crushing Hamas. This didn't happen yet, by all means not. And therefore there will be support for continuing the war.
Humanitarian aid has started flowing into Gaza from Egypt. Hamas says about 230 trucks of water, food, medical supplies and fuel are expected on Friday.
And in our sports news tonight, double amputee Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius was granted parole Friday, 10 years after shooting his girlfriend through a toilet door at his home in South Africa in a killing that jolted the world. Department of Corrections spokesperson Singabako Kumalo says Pistorius would be released from prison on January 5. Pistorius, who turned 37 this week, has been in jail since late 2014 for the Valentine's Day 2013 killing of model Riva Steenkamp, although he was released for a period of house arrest in 2015 while one of the numerous appeals in his case was heard. He was ultimately convicted of murder and sentenced to 13 years and 5 months in prison. More in this report.
Double amputee Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius was granted parole on Friday, a decade after he shot his girlfriend through a toilet door at his residence in South Africa, causing a shockwave around the world. Singabako Kumalo, the spokesperson for the Correctional Department, announced that Pistorius would be released from prison on January 5th. Pistorius, who celebrated his 37th birthday this week, has been incarcerated since late 2014 for the killing of model Riva Steenkamp on Valentine's Day in 2013. Although he was briefly released for house arrest in 2015 during an appeal process, he was eventually convicted of murder and sentenced to 13 years and 5 months in prison. In accordance with South African law, serious offenders are required to serve at least half of their sentence to be considered for parole, a criteria that Pistorius has fulfilled. At the time of Steenkamp's death, Pistorius was at the pinnacle of his fame and was one of the world's most admired athletes. The tragic incident involved him shooting her multiple times in the bathroom of his Pretoria villa during the early morning hours using his licensed 9mm pistol.
To end Camnet television news, the top stories once again. Government considering prosecution of former President Edgar Lungu. Court orders Chilufya Tayali to stop being emotional in court. An identified man has been found dead in the graveyard. In international news, Comoros Supreme Court clears Assoumani for 4th term bid. And in sports news, Oscar Pistorius granted parole in South Africa. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Titus 2, verse 2 to 3. Teach the older men to be temperate, worthy of respect, self-controlled, and sound in faith, in love, and in endurance. Likewise, teach the older women to be reverent in the way they live, not to be slandered or addicted to much wine, but to teach what is good. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Siambo. Good night.